Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Starch Lady. It is May 18th. My second youngest child's birthday was yesterday on the 17th. He turned 40. Did I say that out loud? That means that my other kids, that my oldest child that I gave birth to is going to be 42 this year. Our older daughter is 47. I mean, where is that even humanly possible? Yes, it is.
No, wait a minute. What?
Yeah, Justin's going to be 42.
You just said your second youngest child?
My second.
That would be Travis.
No. My second oldest. Did I say it wrong?
Oh, yeah, so, you said youngest. I'm like, what? No,
So Curtis turned 40 yesterday, which means Justin's going to be 42. Amanda's 47, and then it goes down from there, like 40, 45, 44, 2 42-year-olds, and so on and so forth, all the way down to 24, because Travis just turned 24. So yeah, it's crazy where all this time has flown. That is for darn sure. Especially, laugh if you want, but I don't feel like I'm 25 or 30 yet. I may look like I'm 61 years old, but I feel like I'm 25 or 30 years old. So it just seems weird to me that I have kids that seem older than me, or that they are age-wise older than what I think I am. So, all right, moving on, because if my kids watch this later, they're going to have a heyday on our family Facebook chat making fun of me. So anyways, it'll be Poke on Mom Day. So we have a good little menu today planned for you. I've got 2 recipes videos that we're doing. And then we're going to talk about a goal that I started today that I'd like you to join me in. I am starting a Mary's Mini, and I'm going to choose potatoes, because to me, potatoes is the most versatile, because I can do mashed potatoes, hash browns, baked potatoes that are in the refrigerator. I can do chubby fries. I can mash up the potatoes and turn them into a crust with vegetables on top. I mean, there's so many things I can do with a potato without adding any oil or non-compliant anything. So I am really excited to do this. And my motivation, if you're ready for my motivation and you want to share it with me, but my husband and my technician are going on our coast to coast trip this year without me. I know I'm going to miss you up there, Diane, unless you fly me up there for a cooking class, because I have to mow the lawn. I have to mow the lawn, feed the cat, water the garden. I mean, we've spent so much money putting in this greenhouse and the garden and this raised bed. And if I left for 6 weeks, it would all be crust when I got home. It would just fry in this Texas sun. So I'm going to stay back, and then I'm going to fly up there the end of July. Well, Leroy and Dawn will get back the middle of July. So they're going to be gone for about 6 weeks, and they leave in June. So this is the middle of May. So 2 months, in middle of June, the middle of July, that's 2 full months that I can do my thing without having to do any variance for anybody living at home. So I really want to zone in on that. And I'm thinking Sharon and Dianne, I don't know, other than the dates with Phil, I think we could probably pull this off, but anyways, I want to try it, because the only person here will be me. The only accountability will be you. You are going to be my accountability. My husband's not going to see me. He's not going to do a Zoom or a Facebook FaceTime with me every day. So when he comes back 2 months from now, I want him to walk through the door and go, holy cow, who are you? And I can say, hey, baby, So, I think it would be kind of fun to do that. Not to mention that on the end of July, like the weekend of the 29th, is my husband's 51st high school class reunion up in Idaho. And so he and I will be driving when he gets back. He'll be home for about a week or a week and a half. And then we're going to hop in the car and drive straight back up to Idaho for his 51st class reunion. And I want his classmates to go, damn, he married up, but I don't think that I'm dreaming. But And then the week after that, the first week of August, that next weekend, the very next weekend, our second oldest grandchild is our second oldest grandson. It's my third grandchild is getting married. And so a bunch of the family is going to be together up there. So do you see my highly motivated, point of interest here? And that means I can get up and I can walk. I don't have to get up and do anything for anybody else. I can do my walking. I can do my gardening. I can do all my stuff. And I should be able to really pull this off. So every week, you guys will be my accountability. And since potatoes are such a good thing, Mary's Mini is normally 10 days long. That is the recommended. And it's supposed to be so boring that you don't want to eat anything else. But if it's too boring, then you're going to hate potatoes for the rest of your life, or oats or rice, or, whatever it is that you choose for your starch for that length of time. So I'm going to try and make the potato thing work.
Is that on her kid's website?
What's that?
The Mary's Mini, is there directions for that on the McDougall website?
Yes. In fact, we're going to watch a couple of videos on it today as part of our program. So, and you can see those and reference back to them. Oh, I lost Carolyn and now she's back again. There she is. So I was trying to keep an eye on that participant column over there and I missed it. So let me get her back on here. There she is. Sorry about that, Carolyn. I wasn't watching the screen like I was supposed to. I missed that when you popped out and then popped back in. So let's start today with Dianne. Tell me how your week's going. I want to hear something new. You're still not showing me stuff. Why are you not showing me stuff?
Because I'm not eating, because I'm not doing good. That's why.
Oh, well, that would be it. That would be it. So don't forget, we can have 2 fruits a day. We can have our starch and vegetable 50-50 plates to lose weight if that's what we're working towards. You can have more starch, more vegetable, whatever, but the idea is 50-50 for maximum weight loss. And then we get 2 fruits a day. So I have started doing my fruits as my dessert. Like at the end of the day, I just want something. I don't know why. I guess because we're eating dinner earlier now that Leroy's home and we're not eating, at sundown, So like the frozen cherries, absolutely nothing added except frozen cherries, pitted cherries. And I can put a little tiny cup, probably a half cup serving. There's probably about 8 to 10 cherries in there. And I can suck on them like popsicles and feel like I just had the treat of the century. And it can count as one of my fruits. I can have an apple. Because I've been having to go out while it's cooler in the morning or later in the evening when it's a little bit cooler. I have found that I can't go out there if I've eaten my hash browns or oatmeal for breakfast and work in the heat. It's too much and I feel really gross, really, really quickly. But I can get up and have my lemonade that I talk about all the time, my energy lemonade with the salt and the lemon in it. And I can have an apple. And that seems to give me enough that I can go out there and work. My body's awake now. It's not, still looking for fuel. It's got this apple to play with. And it's not so much that I get nauseous because I'm out there working in the heat, bending up and down and stuff like that. So, working on your 2 fruits a day to give you a little boost to look forward to. Had another little inspiration this week. Where's my jar? I took it out there. I was going to fill it up and forgot. I can actually drink water with a spoon if I really think I need to scoop something into my face. And so I put a little shot of cranberry juice in it, the no sugar added cranberry juice. I mean, we're talking about maybe a 1/4 cup of cranberry juice to an entire 32-ounce jar of water. And I can sit there and eat it like a spoon and feel like I had a bowl of ice cream by the time I'm done. So it's psychologically just kind of playing with it a little bit. You can also make a sorbet and slushies out of just taking the frozen fruit, frozen strawberries, frozen blueberries, maybe a banana, and blending them up real smooth in the blender and eating them like a sorbet or something that way. So we don't need to feel deprived. We just have to be a little bit more ingenious on what it is that we're playing with. So
I didn't know. Oh my gosh, no.
What?
I didn't know. I didn't know that I was supposed to not be eating more than
2 fruits? Oh, did you freeze or did I freeze? Who can hear me?
She's frozen. You're okay.
Okay, all right. Sam, come back to us. She's not. Let me take her off. She'll come back in here in a second. Oh, no, I can't do that or she can't get back on the meeting. All right, she'll come on and off when she's ready. Anyways, okay, so while we're waiting for her to come back, Carolyn, I know you're at work, so go ahead and unmute and tell us about your week. Anything new and exciting? There's always something new and exciting at your house.
Actually, funny you say that. My husband is kind of on a bit of a let's see how much money we can save thing right now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm okay with that, which means he's trying to cut out things on our grocery budget, and which means he's willing to give up buying any meat, no more cheese, and other than like his maybe one sandwich a day with a bit of sandwich meat in there, I think he's going to be almost mostly plant-based based on not wanting to spend too much money.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Are you familiar with the guy? Oh, shoot. What's his name? There's a real popular guy here in the US that Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey tells people when they're wanting to save money.
Rice and beans.
It's rice and beans.
Yeah.
It's rice and beans. And that fits right into our category of health and nutrition and
exactly
stuff like that. So
he can definitely eat he'll eat a plate of rice and beans and vegetables for dinner as long as it's got plenty of hot sauce on it.
I love it. Bring on the hot sauce. Get that.
And he's been eating oatmeal for breakfast for quite a while now. Just oatmeal and mango. Cooks it in water and everything.
That is awesome. Does he still have that freezer he bought extra full of the meat that his friend gave him?
Oh, that we got rid of that quite a while ago. Like we kept giving some of it away, and because he got tired of it.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can only eat so much meat before you go. So that was what was interesting about that person I was talking about earlier. If she had, one plate of pasta or one potato a week, she felt like she was doing something, strange. So it was more like a keto type diet versus the Mediterranean, because I think Mediterranean has a more of a combination, but great information, but just not for our audience base at this moment, not for us, because you all are doing very, very well, and I don't want to deviate from that. So like I said, we'll hold that in our back pocket for when we need it for some of our non-compliant people that need a boost in the right direction at least. So, okay, well, that's good. Anything new recipe wise this week? Now that he's on board, you're going to have to get a little creative, aren't you? A little even more creative, eh?
Actually, he's pretty simple. Like he's not going to be too upset about having just, mashed potatoes or boiled potatoes with vegetables or rice with vegetables. As long as he's got his hot sauce, it's good.
Good. That's awesome. Keep that hot sauce going. That's perfect. All right, Sharon up in Arizona. How is your week going?
It's going. I've had a concussion for a week, so I've been basically living on Pedialyte because and potato. So
wow, what happened?
I dropped my keys getting out of my truck, picked my keys up and came up fast because I was in a hurry and didn't realize I was right underneath the mirror of the truck, and slammed my head and saw stars, double vision, and the rest is history.
Wow. Well, that's not good. So maybe for the Pedialyte substitute, you remember my recipe with a quart of water, a teaspoon of colored salt, and lemon or lime, something to add a little flavor to it. That's like homemade Gatorade that doesn't have all the preservatives and additives and stuff, and it costs like pennies versus the expense of the Gatorade and Pedialyte.
It's not, Well, I couldn't remember anything. So
This is
the-
true.
the Pedialyte just kept me I mean, it saved my life once before when I couldn't get out and eat. So I always have some there, but that's a good idea, but I couldn't remember that.
Right. Well, you somewhere on your wall, put my phone number. So when weird things happen, you go, I'm supposed to call that number. I might not remember why, but there's a lady at the other end of that phone line that's going to help me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But I'll do the Mary's Mini with you. I'll do it for as long as what you're doing.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and we're going to look at some recipes. What are some of our options for that? So Samantha, do you want to pop back in? You froze on us. So go ahead and tell us what you were starting to tell us. You said you didn't realize that, was it just 2 fruits you were talking about?
Correct. I didn't know I had a fruit limitation.
Well, it's not a limitation. He wants to make sure that you have your 2 fruits a day. So eating more fruit, more than 2 fruits a day, can become one of those obsessive things that throws off our progress because, you know, sugar, and that's the fruit's going to give you the most of it. So my recommendation, me, Dr. Rowe, chapter 101, if you've known me for any length of time, is going to be apples and berries. You know, I love the apples. I love the blueberries, you know, the strawberries. I love papaya. If you're having problems with bowel movements, just one inch ring of a papaya. I can make a papaya this big last for weeks because I only eat like 1 ring at a time, and I freeze them, and then I can throw them on my oatmeal or let them just defrost and eat them with a spoon, or dice them up and eat them with a toothpick or something. And it'll get you going. If you haven't had a bowel movement in a couple of days, papaya, that's your girl. So your go-to. So that being said, do you have anything new you want to tell us about this week?
Me? Well, not that I want to tell everybody, but it was a question to the doctor because I don't know what has changed because my diet hasn't changed. I'm still cheating with the same cheats that I've always cheated with, and I'm still eating the same. The only but the problem is right now, I am swollen. Look, I can't even get my ring off.
Interesting. And
My ankle, and it's only on my right side, you know, my bad side.
yeah,
My right side is swollen, and my ankle is just like huge. And I'm just like, ugh, I'm not cheating any differently than ever, you know.
it is hotter now. Are you still drinking the same amount or more?
It doesn't matter if it's hotter or not. I'm not outside, you know. I was
Okay.
putting the gas, that was it, you know.
Okay.
Now I'm
All
back in the air conditioned car, so that shouldn't matter anything, you know. What
Okay.
I'm saying. And
Yeah.
so I'm just really, I don't know if I should be concerned or if I should be
Why don't you come out here? Let me do a therapy on you this week. So, you know, the reflexology and the therapy where I work the fluid from your feet up into your body so it loosens it up and stuff like that. That acupressure reflexology treatment that I do on the table.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if you can
Okay.
come out, I can set up the table in my office here in the treatment room. I've got the sauna. The sauna would help release some of the trap fluid, and then we can figure out what's kind of blocked there and stuff. But I have to see you to do that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
not only that, but I've gained 5 pounds.
That's because you're retaining water.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it's, you know, a true 5 pounds, but it's just like, what the heck? So
Hey, We're making progress. Samantha just said, and you are my witnesses, that she is retaining water, and that might be her weight gain. Yay, she's come a long ways.
Well,
Because we
only
know she didn't gain 5 pounds of fat, because every pound is 7,500 calories, and she ain't eating that much. So, all right. So, okay. Well, let's go on to our cooking demos for this week. I've got a lovely, very dense lasagna that I think you're going to like. Do you remember when I made the pineapple burgers a couple weeks ago? It was the pineapple and oats combined, you know, for the burgers, or rice. I think it was rice. They were so good. I used them as the crumbly meat for the lasagna. So let's go over and take a look at that. I'm going to do a screen share with you. Get this corrected.
that just reminded me of when my kids were little and I would make meatloaf and they
Yeah.
refused to eat the meatloaf because they hated meatloaf. So the next day I would take the meatloaf and crumble it up and make it into tacos, and they would eat the tacos and love them.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I have seen that one more than once. Let's see. It's all in the mind. Okay, now where did all my little pre-tabs go? I had pre-tabs before we started. There we go. All right, so going to my channel here on the Health Natural Solutions all squished together. I need to probably figure out how to change that to the Starch lady. I'm going to see if I can change that title. But in fact, here, note to self, change title on YouTube. Let me see if I can do that, because nobody looks up Health Natural Solutions anymore. So let's start with the lasagna. And here we go. Hi, everybody. It's the starchlady.com here with another recipe. Well, today we're doing simple lasagna. Yes, you're right. We can eat lasagna on the Starch Solution diet. Watch and see how wonderful that is. Now I have got here my cauliflower steaming to make the cauliflower cheese sauce that tastes like mozzarella. I've got some of the leftover rice and sweet potato burger recipe that we had left over from earlier this week. And I'm just kind of browning it, getting a little bit crispy, like a kind of like a burger texture, hamburger texture, even though we're not having any hamburger, just sweet potatoes and rice and vegetables. But you'll see the steam coming off here because we want the moisture to evaporate. We've got our pans ready. We don't even have to spray these Teflon type pans. What do you call this? Silicone, I guess it is. And then when you're all done, you just tip it over, pap it on the bottom, and it falls out onto a plate for easy cutting. So you don't destroy it with a knife or anything like that. We've got some onion powder, garlic powder, of course, because this is the Montgomery house. You've got the organic pasta sauce. For our vegetable, we're going to strain the juice off of Dr. McDougall's low sodium vegetable garden soup. And we're going to save that broth to drink with our meal. We've got some organic Bragg's sprinkles and herbs, kind of like dash kind of thing, but a healthier version. And then this is that rosemary truffle sea salt that I got a while back. There's very little salt in it. You see how more powdery it is than anything. So it's mostly the truffles and rosemary. And then we've got the gluten-free organic brown rice pasta that you just layer it. You don't have to boil it or cook it like in the olden days. It'll cook up just lovely. You'll see. And to add a little extra, this is my freeze-dried food storage. Had it for years, still fresh and lovely. Spinach, dried spinach that has been freeze-dried. It keeps forever, and I'm going to sprinkle that on layers just like this. I love how easy these McDougall containers are. You just pop up the sides and squeeze it from the top, and then there's a little perforation here to pull it open to get the soup out. Easy peasy. We're going to go ahead and pour that into the strainer. I just wasted some juice there. Sorry, Dr. McDougall. I wanted to save that to drink with our meal. Hold on. Hold that pose. And you thought the bulk tea strainers were only made for tea. Haha. we're going to use it as a strainer into this beautiful glass for our vegetable broth. I'm going to use a little bit of our alkaline antioxidant water to rinse that out a little bit. If you guys want one of these systems, we are starting our nationwide itinerary if you want to get on the schedule for our June, July installations anywhere in the U.S. Give us a call, 210-880-4321. Shameless plug right there. All right, pouring that in as well. All right, getting all the goodies out of there. Box number 2. Looks like we'll get about 16 ounces of juice out of the 2 containers. Notice I did drop some down into the faucet that one time in the start. Again, sorry, Dr. McDougall. We'll stir that around a little bit, but we get the point. Doesn't that look delicious? It may not make it to dinner. Some people sip wine. I sip Dr. McDougall juice. We're going to move on to the cheese sauce now. And for those of you that have been on my channel for a while, you know that I love this sauce. And so you can watch the full video. I'm going to kind of speed things up here, but there's another video that's called Mozzarella Cheese Like Sauce. So check that out and we'll talk in a minute. If you haven't made my recipe for the cheese sauce, it's not my recipe, but one that I started using, you're going to want to make sure that you've got tapioca flour, also known as tapioca starch. You cannot use any other thickening or it will not have that mozzarella cheese stretchy consistency, I promise. I could have probably skipped this step. After blending the ingredients, we usually put it in a pan until it starts to thicken and stretch, but this is right after I put it in the pan, and look how thick it is already. Because the cauliflower was hot from the steamer, and because I mixed it with the tapioca starch in a high-powered blender, it started doing the thickening all by itself. So I'm not going to do much more of that because that's just thick and chewy enough to be able to put between the layers on a lasagna. So we start our layering with a little bit of the sauce on the bottom. In fact, there's probably about a 1/4 cup of sauce here that we're going to spread on the bottom here. You're going to want the most sauce on the bottom, makes it easier for getting it out. It taps out real easy at that point. Okay. Now we're going to layer these gluten-free organic brown rice noodles, but I want you to notice the ingredients here. Organic brown rice flour, comma, water, period. That's it. End of story. That's what we mean by a whole grain pasta. 1 ingredient and water. Done. Now this pan is just a little bit long, so I'm going to put 2 noodles, and I'm going to start from front to back, and then the next day I'm going to go back to front so that it doesn't overlayer always just on that one side or the center there. Taking a scoop of Dr. McDougall's veggie soup, garden veggie soup. It's full of potatoes and spinach and peas and green beans and tomatoes, carrots. It's just amazing. And we're going to layer that back and forth here. We plunked in a couple of crumbles from the rice and sweet potato burger meat that we had left over. Now we're going to add some of the creamy cheese. Just kind of drizzle that through the lasagna. Following the noodle package recipe, I've preheated the oven to bake at 375. And then we're going to add another layer of the noodles, starting from back to front this time. I've added 3 more tablespoons, the size scoops of the sauce to spread across the noodles, because it's the sauce that's going to get that noodle cooked. So you want to make sure that you have plenty, and 3 tablespoons or 3 scoops of the tablespoon size works great. I forgot to show the freeze-dried spinach that I sprinkle on the vegetables on that previous layer, or the 2 layers down. I'm on about my 3rd section layer now. We're pretty full. Get a little focus there. Sorry about that. And now we're going to pour the last of the sauce generously on top. Spread that around and into the oven it goes. You've heard me say before how much I hate tin foil. You don't want to wrap your potatoes in it. I swear Alzheimer's has more to do with the metals that we find in our water that we remove with our water system. But I think it has more to do with that than the aluminum that's in the deodorant. I avoid those as well, or the aluminum that you cook your baked potato with. So I do not like tin foil touching my food, but when you want to cook lasagna, you have to have a little bit of a steam. So unless you've got a lid that fits your containers, I actually broke off some wooden chopsticks. We use a lot of chopsticks in our house. You can see here, we have a bunch of plastic ones and ones from restaurants. We use them for stirring, cooking, eating. But in absence of that, something I prefer better to avoid these kind of splintering that's on the top here is the coffee stirrers. They're like little skinny popsicle sticks, and they don't splinter. And you can buy hundreds of them for like $1 at the dollar store. And they are great for testing cakes and things like that too, like a giant toothpick but flat. So I do prefer those, but I'm all out. I have to get some more. You will want to place the silicone pans on a baking sheet because they do come out a little wobbly when they're hot. We've got the stove at 375 for 50 minutes. Then we'll remove the tin foil for 10 minutes. And then it says to let it sit. You might not have to do the 10 minutes because this isn't real cheese that's trying to melt. It's just our cauliflower cheese-like sauce. All right. I think that was it for that one because my phone died. My phone died with that one. So that was fun. Going back to my YouTube channel again, one of the things that I know a lot of people complain about when we eat as many vegetables as we do is keeping their produce because it goes bad in the refrigerator. So I did this one for y'all. And it'll tell you how to keep your vegetables to last weeks, not days. And it's very, very short. It's only about 4 minutes long. It's Dr. Rowe, the starch lady, with a little crisper saving tip for you to keep your salad lasting longer. I'm thinking particularly of my friend Caroline that does her big grocery shopping only once a month. And how to keep a salad that lasts for a month. I've made it last longer, and so this is my tip on how to do that. I believe this came originally from a video I watched with Mimi Kirk, one of the original vegan recipe geniuses of all time, and it is still working strong all these years later. So we have our organic salad mix, and they usually come quite packed, but we want to be able to make that last a lot longer by preserving it with just a little simple tip. If you leave it in the crisper like this, just handsfuls like this, it's crispy and crunchy right now. But if you leave it like this over a period of time, it's going to start to sweat, even in these plastic aerated containers. So you're going to need to collect the moisture to keep it away from the salad mix, but also allow it to kind of rehydrate the mix as well. So there's a couple ways to do that. You could very simply lift the salad and place napkins underneath it, as well as in between it and on top of it. All right. Now you can do that through the whole container all the way down. What we're going to do today, today's method, is we're going to do individual servings because everybody seems to be so much on the go these days, and salad, trying to get it out of the bag and get it in the crisper, get it in a bowl, get it tossed with your favorite, no fat dressing. It's a little bit time consuming. So we're going to make these simple to use, simple to grab pouches that you can just take along with you, open them up, dump them in a bowl, and you can reuse these bags over and over again. It's not a big deal, especially when it's just for your family's use. So we're going to start by taking a Ziploc bag, and I use the quart size, opening it up, and placing a paper towel down in the bottom, a napkin. We don't buy paper towels as much in our home as we do the napkins. You can get 500 of them for a whole lot less. Then we're going to grab a handful of spinach, for example, And we're going to throw another napkin in between. Then we're going to grab a handful of the mixed greens. If you want to add your diced cabbage mixes, coleslaw mixes, things like that, you could do that as well. This one's going to be very simple. We're just going to load it with the lettuce. Well, let me go ahead and get some of that cabbage. Hold on a second. So I went ahead and grabbed some of the cabbage coleslaw mix that we like. We're going to put that in on top. So now you've got 3 kinds of green mixes. You've got your paper towel, and then you're just going to simply squeeze the air out of the container as best you can. Push the paper down so it doesn't get in the way. Put the 2 pieces together, squeeze it, and close the bag. Simple, simple salad to go. All right, keep doing it in the layers if you want. We've even rolled it up like little sleeping bags, whatever works for you, but you have to keep the layers separated by the paper towels to be able to create a moisture barrier. You can also use 100% cotton hankies. That one didn't seal too good. The 100% cotton hankies, you can buy 10 for about $3 in the Walmart construction area where they keep like the reflective vests and things, where they sell men's hankies. You want to get the 100% pure white cotton, 100% cotton, and you can wash them over and over again. But see how that just seals down just nice and tight and ready to go. All right, enjoy. When you dump the bags back out, it makes a beautiful salad just like this, because you're going to be undoing the layers backwards basically. This one here had the crunchy at the bottom, then it had the lettuce mix, and then it had the spinach. So I was able to take the spinach out first, put it in the bottom, move the napkin, put it on the salad, and then the crunchy on top. So it came out in a beautiful layer. It doesn't even have to mix together if you don't want it to until you're ready to, after you've added your fat-free dressing. If you need it, a drizzle of mustard will work just as well. So that's how you make it beautiful and simple. All right. Okay, any questions on those 2 videos? I think that particular salad, you heard the ding in the background. I was making chubby fries, and we put the chubby fries on top of the salad, and then I drizzled my, I think I had honey mustard that day that I drizzled across the top of all of it. It's like my breakfast this morning, brunch. We had it just before I got started here. It was late because I had my apple, worked in the yard a little bit, and then I came in, got dressed all pretty for you, and then had my salad and my chubby fries and drizzled some honey mustard over the top of that. So for my chubby fries, my small air fryer, we do for about 30 minutes on the high setting of 425. And we've tossed them with some seasoning. Sometimes we don't, just depends on what mood or whatever we're in for flavoring. So, okay. All right. Any questions on those 2 recipe ideas?
I had a question. I can't remember what it was.
Okay, Sharon, and then I'll come back to you. Sam.
How long does the salad last in those bags?
So I have been able to keep lettuce for an entire 3 to 4 weeks. I've kept cilantro crispy for 3 months.
Wow.
3 months. So, and the way I do things like cilantro that are real delicate like that is I lay out like a cotton hanky or the paper towel, and I lay them across, and then I start rolling the paper towel. And so the paper towel is wrapping around inside of it. And then I just unroll it a little bit at a time, take out my cilantro, use what I need, and put it back in the Ziploc bag. I kind of bend it and shove it into the Ziploc bag. So it
How
lasts
about
so much longer.
spinach and kale? How about spinach and kale?
Spinach and kale, like if you layer them like I did just there, you can do them separate or you can put them together. And even in the bin, like I said, you can put the paper towel on the bottom and then a layer of the greens, and then paper towels and a layer of greens, kind of like you're layering a lasagna of paper. Those I have always been able to keep 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes longer. Depends on what we're doing. And I know you got me started looking at some of the salads that were like, you know, the discontinued ones, you know.
Yes.
You can resurrect those babies and keep them lasting for at least probably another 1 to 2 weeks, even if they're starting to go at the store, those discount ones. By taking them home, you gotta take that little extra time, but when you come home, dump them out, and start layering them like that, putting them back in the fridge or shoving them in the Ziplocs, whichever you want to do. I kind of like the Ziplocs because I can squeeze all the air out of them.
Okay,
And
Thank you.
that moisture is going to go into the paper towel and then kind of work like a hydroponic, not hydroponic, what do they call that? The moisture is going to come back down, kind of a misting. It's not going to mist down, but it's going to keep it crunchy, but it's not going to keep them soggy. So
Okay.
that's a huge tip for saving it. I do that with anything that I have to put in the refrigerator. Now there's certain foods like tomatoes that like to be on the counter, but if they start to go a little mushy, you want to wrap them in a paper towel and stick them in, you know, next to each other in a Ziploc bag or container as well.
Okay.
Zucchini, we wrap zucchini and cucumbers up like they're in a sleeping bag. When the kids were home, I would tell them it was their job to put the vegetables to rest. And it was my excuse to get help in the kitchen. But you take the paper towel and you wrap it around the zucchini and then stick another one and another one, and another one. They're all just individually wrapped inside your Ziploc bag or container.
One
Okay?
more question. Will the
Yeah.
cotton hankies keep the salad or everything longer than the paper towel? Is there a difference in
I
the
have not
duration?
noticed. I have not noticed a difference. The only difference is I can wash the cotton
Yes.
hankies and reuse them with that, which saves money. It's more, you know,
Right.
ecologically friendly. But there are some times when I have forgotten about something in the back and those will get really brown because the salad's gone in there for longer than, you know, a
Yes.
month or so. And I don't know how that happens. I guess we're just always buying new stuff. This new refrigerator we have in this house is a side by side, so it's real small. So I'm not storing anything longer than I have to because there's just not enough space for it. So I haven't had that problem since we moved here. But in our other fridge that was so big that, you know, you could lose your face in there. You know, I would sometimes have the napkins turn brown. You can wash them, you know, bleach them out, you know, wash them and stuff in the laundry. And I'm not worried about the stains. It's just for the family. But there has been a couple of times when it was so bad, I just boxed the thing away, you know, and because I just went and bought some more cotton hankies. I do like the 100% cotton hankies, though. I really do. So, anyway, Sam, did you remember what you were wanting to say? Okay. All right, let's pop back over here on our screen share and look at a couple ideas. So who's with me besides Sharon? Diane, do you want to try the Mary's Mini with me? Okay, you want to try it?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, Sam, you want to try it?
I never leave the Mary's Mini.
You only you never eat rice or pasta?
No, I don't.
Wow. Okay. You're going to be our inspiration.
Yeah, it's not because I'm, you know, doing a Mary's Mini. It's because I don't really care for rice because my brain is still on the, you know, rice and pasta are higher in calorie and they make me gain weight.
I learned something new today. Oh, you're going to hear it on here. I'm not going to give it away. Not going to give it a spoiler alert. Dr. McDougall is going to talk about something that's going to blow your mind in a minute. We're going to talk about it. Okay, hold on. Back here.
Mary, there's a question. If somebody's doing Mary's Mini, is oatmeal okay for the staple starch?
If you're gonna eat it for all 3 meals.
Well, that'd be rough. I don't love it. I don't love oatmeal. It's too mushy.
The idea of Mary's Mini is to choose one starch and you eat that starch only at all of your meals for 10 days. And so if you choose potatoes, then you have potatoes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 10 days. And you can have some green and yellow vegetables with it, but no other stuff. That was the way we planned it in the beginning, and that's the way it started. And people now have added all kinds of things to it, and you know, they eat one starch one day and one starch another day, and that's not the idea. The idea is it's supposed to be really boring. So you eat the same starch.
This is a diet. You need to suffer.
You eat the
You
same
need to
starch
suffer.
all 3 meals. So no, unless you're going to eat oatmeal every single meal for 10 days, then no, oatmeal is not considered part of the Mary's Mini.
Yeah.
I would add, you could theoretically argue, and I think what you said is true. I think an oatmeal diet would be a great way. I think about how the Scottish lived.
Oh,
They
yeah.
ate oatmeal all the
Oh,
time.
sure.
And of course, we'd like you to eat whole oats, but I could argue that maybe potatoes are better for weight loss because remember, the fat you eat's the fat you wear. Potatoes are 1% fat and oatmeal is 16% fat. You know, this is why we never put the amount of fat in any of our recipes. Our editors have asked us over and over again, would you, after the recipe, would you put the percent of calories of fat, et cetera, et cetera? And the answer is no, because people would judge the food based on something like I just told you. You think oatmeal is bad because it's 16% fat and potatoes are good because they're 1% fat. They've both been the staple foods of very successful populations, and they can be your choice, or you can have a mixture. But if you want to make it really boring,
And see, I don't think eating
Mary will
potatoes,
tell you
at
how
every-
to do it.
I just never find eating potatoes or sweet potatoes at every meal boring. You know,
Neither do we,
Yeah, I
AJ,
mean,
you
yeah.
know, but I think I worry that it's because I'm not the passionate fool I used to be. We really eat very simple these days. Like last night, you know, Mary asked, well, what would you like for dinner? Well, you know, I really like the rice and vegetables you cooked the night before. And, you know, she basically did that with a little variation. And Friday night it'll be rice and vegetables, you know.
No, tonight it's gonna be potatoes,
We're getting mashed potatoes.
potatoes.
Anyway, it's we don't eat very many different foods, just a few.
Dr. McDougall, I thought once I heard you say though, not to eat too many beans in a day. So would beans not be something you want to do on Mary's Mini 3 times a day?
You know, that again, you're getting into some pretty big details there, particularly when you're asking people from the rich Western diet to make this kind of transition. Beans are comforting foods. They're very solid. You know, people are used to them being, you know, staple foods. And
Yeah, but to eat them 3 times a
well,
day.
I was going to get to that point.
Oh, okay,
Okay, when
sorry.
I first put this program together back in the 70s, all I cared about was my patients. I just wanted my patients to get well. I was in a hospital setting. I just finished my residency and became a board certified internist. So I was dealing with all kinds of really significant problems, which is really what I enjoy doing. My motto is the sicker you are, the happier I am, because, you know, the more likely you are to get better. Anyway, I had patients who had liver disease, osteoporosis, kidney stones, kidney failure. So, you know, we had to limit their protein intake, and you would have to. You'd have to limit their bean, peas, and lentil intake if they lost that much kidney function. So yes, that was the point of view I was coming from. Now, whether or not the person who's pretty healthy eating beans every day more than I recommend would be harmful, I think the degree of risk is very tiny. Although on the Western diet, you know, when you get to be 70, 80 years old, you've lost 20, 25% of your kidney function just from your normal eating. The level of protein in the American diet, you know, protein's toxic. So, you know, that's why I've been a little stricter, just like with people with hypoglycemia. And maybe I did it for diabetics, I forget. Probably did. I said to limit your fruit intake, and I put a little honeybee up there in the recipes and to just indicate to people that maybe I'd be a little more cautious. Hey, look, I'm a doctor, you know, my foundation is taking care of people. It just so happens that most people just need a little help, and, you know, we were able to give them that little help real easy. Particularly easy, as you mentioned today, doing a telemedicine program. It's just, the rewards are huge. Come to the website, find out for yourself. So
I gotta tell you, we are getting so many questions on Mary's Mini today. So for example, the question is let's say you pick potato or sweet potato as your starch. Does it have to be the same potato and sweet potato for 10 days? Or could you maybe have a red one day, a russet, you know what I'm saying? And are you allowed to put anything on them? And the most important question is, what is, from Claudia, why should we eat the same starch for 10 days? What is the benefit of Mary's Mini?
make
Well,
it real
the
boring.
benefit is boring. So that's why we say you pick one.
This is a diet. You need to
This is-
suffer.
You're not going to eat this for more than 10 days. You know, that's not what we recommend, is that people eat Mary's Mini
You wanted to
forever.
lose as much weight as you could possibly lose. You didn't care. You were ready to sacrifice your kidneys and your liver and your bones eating the Atkins diet. You were able to starve yourself. Whoa. You just want a
So-
program that works. Well, we're going to make you suffer by, go ahead, Mary, tell them how to suffer.
No, you pick one. You pick one. If you pick sweet potatoes, then it's sweet potatoes for 10 days.
The same color.
But could it be an orange one one day and a white one the next day?
Eyes on the potatoes, make sure they have the same number of eyes.
The same color. So if you pick white potatoes, then you eat white potatoes. So you can't vary them, and you can't have rice one day and potatoes the next day, because that's not boring anymore, and you'll eat more food. And the idea is to eat less food so that you lose weight faster, because that's the whole idea of Mary's Mini, because it's a diet.
Right, because variety encourages overeating. Yep.
Okay, so if we go back to this one, hold on a second. And let me stop the screen share here. So a couple points I want to talk about that particular video. The part that I thought was a spoiler alert, I was almost slipped out, was who knew that potatoes were only 1% fat naturally, and oats was 16% for the same calorie measurement. So, you know, and I can see Samantha's brain right now saying, I'm never going to eat oatmeal again because it's 16% fat. But that's not the point. There's so much fiber in oats that you're not going to do bad. And having it every day for breakfast, like Dr. McDougall does, which he has oats and I'll unmute you, Sam, so you can keep driving. Don't worry about it. There you go.
I already unmuted. I unmuted to say that I had oatmeal yesterday. Thank you very much.
Yay. Good. So I love oats, and I love the simplicity, like Dr. McDougall does, of knowing that every day he's going to have oatmeal and blueberries for breakfast, because he doesn't have to think about it. If you already know, you're not going to get lost in that wandering through the cupboards and fridge, you know, figuring out what you're going to eat. The boring that they keep referring to is if you're just eating, say, boiled potatoes and green beans every meal for 10 days, you're going to get so bored with it that you're not going to overeat it. You know what I mean? Now, I may overeat, not intentionally, but I may eat more if I make a mashed potato crust with the sauce and vegetables on top, like a pizza, like I like to do. There's no cheese or anything. It's just sauce, vegetables, and sauce. But I do it on that mashed potato crust that I have the recipe for on our Facebook page. I could eat that whole pizza by my entire self. Whereas if I was just having mashed potatoes in a bowl, I'd probably have about this much mashed potatoes, and I'd have some vegetables next to it. Because I have these particular bowls that I use. And I started this a while back where I only have one bowl. And it's they're kind of flat. They're about this thick and they're about this round. You'll see them in my pictures a lot. They're like a very low rimmed plate, basically. But I only want to have what fits into that bowl. Well, my pizza is bigger than my bowl. And it's going to make about 8 slices, and it's going to be all mashed potatoes. And it's probably not even as much mashed potatoes as what's in my bowl because it's all flattened out, but I'm going to eat that whole thing. So I'll try that this week. I'm going to see how much mashed potatoes I use to make that crust. And I'm going to do it in 2 places. I'll do the same amount of mashed potatoes in a bowl with the vegetables on the side. And then I'll use the other exact same amount of mashed potatoes and make a crust, and use the same exact vegetables and make my pizza top, and let you compare it. I'll do that for you for next week. Okay.
Okay, but just, you know, because I have to be me, isn't that defeating the purpose of the boring Mary's Mini by making it different and
Yes. Well, but that's why I want to do that demonstration. If it's the exact same amount of mashed potatoes and vegetables, and I'm using the exact same quantity and ingredients to make it a little bit more fun to eat, have I done anything wrong? If it's the same amount of mashed potatoes and it's the same vegetables, I just made it flat versus in a bowl.
right, but having the same amount, if it's too much to start with, that's, you know.
Well, that's what I'm going to check. I don't know what's going to be too much. I mean, I know what I normally eat, and I think I can pull it off using the exact same blob to make my crust with. and the same vegetables to make the top. Well, I'll do the video next week and we can talk about it at that point and see how we did. Getting on the scale and this morning and stuff, I'll do the Mary's mini post on the group and start tracking and taking pictures of my scale again like I used to. And let's just see how my week goes. And I'd like you guys to do the same thing. You can stand on the scale with your phone. It only weighs 0.7 ounces, so don't worry about it. Stand there with your phone and point it down at your feet, and you can zoom into the section of your scale if you like. If you want to take a picture of it. You don't have to share it with everybody if you don't want to. You don't even have to post your weight if you want to. I'm just up here in everybody's face, you know, showing my business all the time. I'm just surprised I haven't stood in front of the mirror with my underwear on for you yet. When I get skinny though, it's coming.
How much weight have you lost, Ro?
So I lost 42 pounds and I gained 12 of it back because of being so sick over the last few months when we had the COVID.
Yes.
No excuse. Samantha will tell you it's no excuse. We have eaten out a lot. And even though I try to make really good choices off the side menus and stuff like that, Sam made a very good point last week and a great reminder. I must have mentioned it like 5 times every time my husband looked at me and asked me what was for dinner. I go, well, you know, Sam said, you know? But there is so much oil. You know, you get a baked potato at a restaurant and they're going to roll it in grease before they bake it to make it crispy. So if I'm eating a baked potato at a restaurant, number one, it's not going to be starch resistant because they didn't put it in the fridge overnight like we do, right? But I can open up that baked potato and I can eat all the fluffy wuffy out of the middle and I can leave that crust, that skin. That's the hardest part for me because I love me some potato skins. There used to be a dish at TGI Fridays. Thank God it's Friday restaurant. And their potato skins, I had to stop eating them for another reason because they did the dumbest thing. They would take the skins and fill them full of cheese and bacon, and then they would roll them in flour before they would deep fry them again. So they weren't just potato skins like I make, where I can take the skins that I leave and I can put some mashed potatoes back in it and, you know, put some nutritional yeast on there, whatever, and shove it in my air fryer. That's a totally different experience than when they've got dairy cheese and dairy butter and bacon, and then they've dipped it in gluten flour, and then what? Oh, they deep fried it. So it's not the same thing. So if you're in a restaurant, you're going to want to choose the baked potato to be safe because it's not going to be greasy on the inside. It will be on the outside. You just have to look at that and see. You can tell which restaurants do that and which ones
Actually, no, I'm going to say that's not true because just like you say that those pesticides can go in while they're growing.
Yeah.
So can that oil.
Well, it's going to be harder to get it in there to absorb the oil fast enough because they're going to grease it and throw it in the oven. It's not going to be as much. I understand what your point is though, and what you're saying there. What I did the other day at a restaurant was I got the steamed asparagus, the steamed broccoli, the side salad, and I got
potato and not eating the skin.
Potato. And what?
Yeah.
What was that last? What'd you say?
If you think you're making a good choice and you're doing this a lot and you're not eating the skin, but there's still oil in that potato.
Right. Yeah. So that's now the only way you're not going to get that as much is like if you're at Golden Corral, for example, all of their potatoes are strictly just washed. They're wrapped in tinfoil, which I don't like, and they're baked in that tinfoil. They don't have a bunch of oil on theirs. But same thing with Wendy's. Wendy's does not put a lot of oil on theirs. They just wash them and bake them. So it just depends on where you're at. But we have been very, very good about not eating out this week. And I keep reminding them, it's like, no, we got food here. We don't need to eat out. No, we don't need to eat out. We can eat here. And he still managed to get me to eat out once this week. So, but I told him this morning, I says, you know, I really want to look good for your class reunion. you look fantastic, because now he's lost like 100 pounds because he lost an extra 30. He had lost 68 and then he lost another 30 with the COVID, and he has put on less than 8 pounds, I think. He's like at 172, 175 right now, and he thinks he can maintain that. But he started out at like 280, about the same place I did when I first started all of this. And so he's going to look great for his class reunion. And I don't want to look like the big wife of the little man husband. So I have got to drop another 30 pounds or so before then. But walking, and I've been doing the Total Gym that I bought from Beth. And oh, did you see her post this week? She posted something really good. She made like a brown rice sushi roll with this for her meal yesterday. So I'm excited. I think she's gonna be coming back to us here pretty soon. So next on that list was, now they say stick with just the same potato for the entire time. Now I do plan on mixing up my potatoes. I do cook russets, I cook reds, I cook the yellow potatoes, I do sweet potatoes. I do them all at the same time. Sweet
But why do
potatoes to
you
me
want
are
to
like a
mess with
dessert.
something that works?
What's that?
Why do you want to change something that works?
Because my husband will not eat the same potato all the time, and I'm not going to cook 2 batches. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
But you can still eat only one kind.
okay, I'm not trying to torture myself. I'm trying to do this for 2 months. So I'm just going to
Yes,
do
you
potatoes.
are supposed to torture yourself. That's what she said.
I know they say that because they want it to be boring so you won't overeat. And
Right,
I
so
don't
you'll
I don't
lose
have
weight.
I don't have that issue because I'm using that bowl and I'm not overeating anymore. That's been my trick for the last month. I stick to that bowl. If it don't fit in that bowl one time, it ain't mine. You know what I mean? So I don't go back for seconds anymore. That I cut that out. So that's been a huge, that's a huge thing for me.
But how
So-
many times a day do you eat?
Only about twice.
Oh.
Because I have my apple when I first get up, I exercise and I do my yard work and stuff. And then we have like a brunch. My brunch today was, my bowl is sitting over there. I just finished my salad and my chubby fries that were my breakfast lunch meal, maybe 20 minutes before this class started. So that at lunchtime, I was finishing my potatoes and salad. And then I'll have another one this evening, probably about 5:30 or 6 o'clock. And I'm done for the day unless I want to eat my water with a spoon or have some berries or something like that while I'm watching a show with hubby pants. So I think I'm on a really good start right now. So stop dinging on me, Sam. watch and be amazed. Okay. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, we got one more demonstration for the Mary's Mini. We've got a few more minutes. Let me just show it to you real quick. It's a different girl, but she's following the McDougall Mary's Mini program, and she lost like 12 pounds in 10 days. And I wanted to share that.
Welcome back to Highway to Healthy. My name is Katie, and I am down 100 pounds from following the Starch solution. And today I'm going to tell you guys about how I did Mary's Mini for 10 days, and I ended up losing 12 pounds in 10 days. Guys, please be sure to watch this video because I'm going to show you guys the different recipes that I made and how I meal prepped for doing Mary's Mini by using the starch of white potatoes for the 10 days. There's a sparkle in your eyes. So Mary's Mini is where you pick a starch and you have that as your only starch for 10 days. So you can't like switch out between like white potatoes, sweet potatoes, and then have some rice. You just pick one starch and that's your only starch that you have. So I picked white potatoes, and then you can mix that in with all non-starchy vegetables. So like broccoli, asparagus, kale, stuff like that. And then you can use simple sauces, nothing with like flour in it, like thickening. So you can have like ketchup, you can use like soy sauce, stuff like that. So pretty simple. And I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't kind of sick of potatoes right after, because I definitely was, but it was definitely worth it and I felt great, and I definitely recommend anyone to try that because it was definitely a great boost in the weight loss, or just to do it like after you were kind of like slacking off a bit, which was happening for me. So it was definitely a great restart, and I would definitely recommend it.
All right, so I'm gonna start my food prep off. I have a 10-pound bag of russet potatoes, and that is what I'm going to choose as my starches for these 10 days on Mary's Mini. So starting my food prep here, I have some potatoes that I have peeled and I have them boiling. And now this is what I'm going to use for my mashed potatoes. And I'm also going to use these to make some cheese sauce. And then here I have some potatoes. They're not boiling yet, but these are for my fries that I'm going to keep in the refrigerator just to put in my brand new air fryer that I got, that I love. This is adorable. I will link this down below if you guys are interested, and it's way bigger and it's my favorite color and I love it. And so I want to be able just to grab what I want for Mary's Mini and just put it in the air fryer and have some fries and steam up some broccoli. And then I'm going to have my cheese sauce, and I'm also going to make some soup. But I'm going to do the soup in a couple days. But right now I'm just going to have mashed potatoes ready. I'm going to have fries ready just to go in here, and then I will make some soup. So I'm just going to put some carrots in here with these to boil as well to make my cheese sauce. And I will link the recipe below for a couple different cheese sauces that I have. All right, so the fries are ready to go in the air fryer when I want. So now I'm making the cheese sauce. I have the potatoes and the carrots boiled, and I put a cup of the boiled water in. And now I'm just going to add some nutritional yeast, and then I'm going to add some onion powder and some garlic powder. And all this, you just do it as you want. I'll have 2 recipes linked below. But just make your cheese sauce how you normally do, and it's blended up, and it's great to keep in the refrigerator for Mary's Mini week to put on top of your potatoes. I'm also going to add some umami, which I love, into this cheese sauce, and I got this idea from Starch with Plants, and I will link her channel down below. I also wanted to say that I did do this Mary's Mini with my friend Vegan Mama Mel, and I'll link her channel down below as well. All right, now for making the mashed potatoes, the potatoes are cooked and drained. Now I'm just going to add some vegetable broth. I'm doing this, I usually add a little bit of this and a little bit of almond milk, but since we're doing Mary's Mini, I'm just going to do the vegetable broth. So some vegetable broth, and then I'm also going to add in some nutritional yeast and some garlic salt. And this all together makes really good mashed potatoes that are approved for both the starch solution and for Mary's Mini. And I'm just going to mash these up really good, mix all the flavors together, and then I'm going to have them stored in my refrigerator, so for the week I can just, or the 10 days, I can just grab them as I want them. Alright, so to make the fries after you boiled them, you could also microwave them. I'm just going to put them in the air fryer, and I'm going to put some paprika on them, and I'm also going to put some garlic salt on them. And like I said, you can either microwave them first or you could boil them first. And then once you put whatever kind of seasoning you want it, like I use the paprika and the salt, I'm going to put my air fryer to 400, and I'm going to put it on 8 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them in another 8 minutes for another 8 minutes. So 16 minutes total, flipping at 8 minutes. So now that the fries are done, I'm pairing it with some broccoli, and I'm just going to pour the cheese sauce we just made all over it. And this together is so amazing. It feels like you're really having just broccoli and cheese fries, and it is so good and so easy, guys. And it's all great to just have stored in the refrigerator for the 10 days. Some potatoes with ketchup, onions, and asparagus. Jimmy's making me some soup. All right, and here is the soup Jimmy made me. It's kind of like my preloading soup that I just made. I will link the preloading soup below, but instead I added potatoes to it since that's my Mary's Mini, and then we didn't use tomato soup. But besides that, and the tomatoes, besides that, it's the same. And So this is really good, and it's gonna fill me up. And I will link my preloading soup below and my also best vegetable soup below. And then of course, I'm just having some fries with some ketchup that I made in the air fryer. And this is perfect. And I just had a bunch of non-starchy vegetables in the soup. So I'm just gonna have the fries by itself. And for breakfast, I'm gonna have some hash browns, as you can see. The only ingredients is potatoes. Just making some hash browns. I have some hash browns that I have that are just russet potatoes in them, and then some broccoli and cauliflower. And this is my breakfast. And then here I have some more soup that we had yesterday, having it for lunch. Some fries that are cooking right now in the air fryer. Right, and then I'm having some more fries with some ketchup. Let's make some mashed potato balls. All right, so I'm gonna take some of the mashed potatoes and I'm just gonna roll them into like little balls. Squeeze them into little balls. Just like this. And then I'm gonna put them in the air fryer. And I'm gonna cook them on 400 each side for 8 minutes, and they're gonna be like little mashed potato balls. Alright, so I have a bunch of these and I'm going to give Jimmy a few, but I'm going to cook these on 400 for 8 minutes. Alright, so 400. 400, 8 minutes, and I'm just gonna, just like my fries, I'm just gonna flip them. And then I also have some cabbage here cooking to go with them. This is cabbage I had left over from my preloading soup. Alright, so they're ready, so we're gonna take them out, and look at these mashed potato balls. These look so good. I'm gonna serve them with some ketchup. Alright, so I'm having the mashed potato balls with some cabbage. Cabbage I just made with some vegetable broth and some seasonings. And I have some of these hash browns, again with peppers and onions from Walmart. And as you can see, it's just this potatoes and onions and peppers in them. You're making some vegetables again. And here I have the hash browns and vegetables. Alright, so now I'm having some spinach with some red wine vinegar and onions, just to have it before I eat. And then here for dinner I have some potatoes with some asparagus, onions, and mushrooms. And then I have some more soup right here. And I'm just having some more French fries, 'cause I'm still hungry. And this is just some mashed potatoes with some cheese sauce, and I put pepper and parsley on it. Alright, I'm just having some more fries and broccoli. And then I'm having some more soup, but this is a different kind of soup Jimmy threw together. And I'm just having some more fries. Alright, and now I'm having some hash browns, the oil-free hash browns with peppers and onions, and some green beans. Alright, so here I have, this is the mushroom steak, which I've made before in my breakfast video for steak and eggs and my vegan surf and turf. And I served it up with a baked potato, and I just put some of the vegan cheese sauce we just made, and it's just made out of potatoes and carrots and nutritional yeast and seasoning, so it works perfectly for the Mary's Mini. And then some broccoli. This is a total compliant Mary's Mini video. And this steak is so easy to make, and this is also good, 100% Mary's Mini and maximum weight loss compliant. So good. Now I'm going to show you how to make the steak in a previous video. We're gonna take 2 portobello mushrooms and we're gonna wash them, and then we're just gonna pull the stems off. You don't need to cut them. They come off really easily. And then into a bowl, we're going to marinate. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of liquid aminos, 2 tablespoons of vegan Worcestershire sauce. I'm using the Annie's brand. And then 1 teaspoon of umami. Yes, we're flavoring a mushroom with a mushroom. And 1 teaspoon of 21 seasoning salutes. And then a half a teaspoon of the ground white pepper. And this really gives it the spicy flavor, and a 1/4 cup of water. And then we're just gonna whisk it up here. And then I'm just gonna soak it up, put the mushroom in and kind of soak in all the flavors. I only really let it marinate for just like 30 minutes. It's not really like when you marinate something overnight, but I just want all the flavors to soak in. Now you can marinate it longer if you'd like. All right, I do not cook with oil. It is not part of the starch solution. So I'm going to use some vegetable broth. And I'm just gonna heat the vegetable broth up here before I add my steaks in. Now look at those, they're nice and soaked up. I just had them soaking for just about 30 minutes. And the rest of the marinating and seasoning that's in there with little broken pieces, I'm just gonna pour it over into the pan. Soak up all that yummy flavor. And I'm just gonna cook this on medium heat until the mushroom is nice and tender. And I'm just gonna flip it over every couple minutes. Looking like the steaks, the mushrooms are done. This is seriously so good. Please try this. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a bunch of the different foods that I ate for Mary's Mini.
Also, I did a video last month about what I eat in a week, where I show everything that I ate for the whole week. So that's a great video if you guys didn't get a chance to check that out. Also, if you guys haven't joined my Facebook group yet, I will link it down below. And if you guys could give this video a thumbs up, it really helps out my channel. And if you're not already, please subscribe. I would really appreciate to have you guys here. And thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye. I love this potato. I'm going to eat it.
If you love the potato, why are you gonna eat it?
You better turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me.
All right. I thought she was kind of fun. I'd never seen her before. I want to give her a thumbs up so I can find her again and subscribe to her channel. I found it just before we started, and I thought, oh, that sounds fun.
So
this
how
one
do
was
how do you make the cheese sauce without, I guess it's a different cheese sauce, never mind. But you can't have your cheese sauce with the Mary's Mini, the cheese sauce that we, the stretchy. You can't have the stretchy cheese sauce while you're doing the Mary's Mini.
yeah, so I will use the potato carrot recipe to make it thick, because you could also add potato to the cauliflower. That would make a good half and half to get that thickening, so you can drizzle it like she did. We could do it with the cauliflower and the cooked potato and blend it instead, because during the Mary's Mini, they don't want us using the tapioca starch or the corn starch and things like that. Okay. All right. So there's one more. I don't know. What's my time? What time are we working on? I can't see it.
3:30.
It's what?
3:30.
Is it really? We've just been
you're
having too much fun just talking. Because there's that one more video. Maybe I'll just tap it and put it on the post for you to look later. But I want to go over to that one that we just saw that I stopped the screen on. The plant-based dads. They did one where they did a Mary's Mini, and they showed the recipe of what they ate, and they are super creative as well. So I'll just put that up there for you to watch when you have time. Okay. But any questions? Does this give you enough ideas to think about?
I need to actually get my air fryer out and use it.
Yeah, exactly. We really love our air fryer at our house. And I had forgotten that one of Beth's favorite things to do was to take the mashed potatoes, and she molded them into little shapes like tater tots, and she would air fry them. And that was one of her favorite things. It was soft to eat without, her dentures. And I had forgotten that until that lady started wadding up that mashed potatoes and putting them in the fryer. So I think we're going to have to salute the inventor of the air fryer, because that has been such a blessing in our house to the way that we eat and the things that we can make with that. I actually used my toaster oven, which is also an air fryer. It has a toast setting. And I actually made toast the other day for 3 of us for breakfast. I did 6 slices all at one time, and I haven't seen that done since the early 1960s when we were at my sister-in-law's house in Hurricane, Utah. And she had one of those toaster ovens. She put the bread in there and it toasted on both sides, and I was blown away. And I kept asking my older brother, second oldest brother, how they did that. And he told me that there was these little tiny men in white fireproof suits that waited off to the side inside the toaster oven. And when it was just the right time, they would flip it over and it would get both sides done at the same time. And I was 5. I believed every word of that. And I must have eaten so much toast that week because I sat there trying to catch the little men in the white suits popping up and flipping the toast over. So here we are 55 years later, and I made multiple pieces of toast at one time in my air fryer on the toast setting. So we have come full circle. I want you to know. So, all right, ladies. What's that?
You put your potatoes in the refrigerator, and then you put them in the air fryer.
Yeah. So the way to make the potato a resistant starch, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar. If you were to just to boil the potatoes or bake the potatoes and eat them, your blood sugar would not be super high, but it would be high. It wouldn't be as high as if you had cereal or potato chips. Okay. But by cooking your potatoes, and I let them cool down a little bit, and then I throw them suckers in the fridge. I just drop them into that bottom bin of my crisper. Okay, my bottom crisper bin, just throw them in there, and then, or put them in a Ziploc bag. And then when I want to use them the next day, let them sit overnight in the refrigerator. By the next day, they're kind of rubbery, like potato salad rubbery. They've now become a resistant starch. The blood sugar release is super, super gradual and slow. It's not going to spike your blood sugar. And I just take the cold potato out. I whack it in half and 2 more things. I get like 6 big chunks out of each potato. And then I can either just put them in the air fryer and fry them up, or I can put them in a Ziploc bag with some garlic and onion or something and shake them like shake and bake, and then put them in the oven fryer, the air fryer. But that's how you want to do it. You want to use all your potatoes the next day if you're using fresh potatoes. Even if you wanted mashed potatoes, take some of those cold potatoes out, put them, dice them up, put them in a bowl, put in a little drizzle of vegetable broth, use your submersion blender or your manpower hand and mash them up and make mashed potatoes out of them that you've had using those cold potatoes. And now you can reheat them. All right. They also make great potato pancakes because that firmerness, when you mash them up like that, little tiny bit of vegetable broth, I mean, like a tablespoon kind of thing. And then you can make these, I use my griddler, so I can make mashed potato pancakes and put them out. And I don't put syrup on mashed potato pancakes. You could, but I like to drizzle like sriracha sauce or something like that on them. So, okay. All right. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. I'm anxious to see how I do this week. I love having you guys as my motivator, and we're getting through this. It's like we had on our original post, we got this, so everybody say it on the count of 3. We've got this. So here we go. 1, 2, 3.
We got
this. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Love you and have a great week. And since we're pretty much all doing Mary's Mini, I really want to see some pictures, and I want to see some. Yes, Diane, from you. Sharon, from you. Okay. Just take a picture and then tag it on your Facebook page. Okay. All right. If you have trouble with it, text it to me if you can't figure that out, but it's not too hard. On the post, it's got a little place for a camera. Just put your picture. If you have trouble, send it to me and I'll upload it for you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Love you.
Bye.
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 Bye.